We already know that the installation of wind turbines has sparked and still sparks debates in parts of Germany where they are located. The same discussion is also taking place in Latin American countries. However, the debate is not just about where to place them, it involves many shades of grey, especially in a context where changing our current energy system is truly essential. What other issues are being discussed regarding the development of the energy transitions in Latin America? In this video, Professor Rosa explains the problems that can arise from extractive processes and the injustice they may cause. Professor Rosa, the floor is yours.
So I think what's very important to state whenever we talk about criticism and inequalities related to renewable energies, that it's not necessarily, of course, it has to do with the technology and the materiality of the technologies, like how much land you need to set up a wind turbine, for example. But of course, that it's a lot to do with scale, like how large these projects are planned, and decision-making processes, and of course, who benefits and who don't. And I'm not saying that there's a perfect design to do these projects. I think that, of course, you have these global goals, but maybe there already exist a lot of local practices, sustainable practices around land use, around energy use, which research and policies don't see. That's one point. The other point is that, of course, you have requirements in different countries for doing environmental impact assessments, social impact assessment of large-scale infrastructures. But often these processes are very, so there can be a lot of problems with these processes, like who you define as experts, who do you ask, who does the assessments, do you only assess one project or many projects that are built next to each other, for example. How do you really acknowledge what people in the region feel or see or perceive or have an opinion and wish about their future related to possible infrastructure projects? And I think that there's still a lot of potential to maybe think the other way around. Instead of planning large-scale infrastructures and doing policies on a national level, to acknowledge what practices, what land use practices, ideas about future energy relations exist in these often very marginalized areas or areas that were not of major importance when now, like in northeastern Brazil or parts of Chile, parts of Mexico, where the projects have been set up or are to be set up. Of course, environmental destruction from fossil fuels is huge. And when you measure that, the impact of, for example, wind and solar power is a lot less. But nonetheless, of course, there is an impact. So I think what's also important when we talk about energy transition, that the focus is a lot on emission counting and net zero. But of course, infrastructures are always embedded in larger ecologies and environments, where maybe, as I said before, practice have been concerned land use or biodiversity protection, which might be not so much visible when we only talk about the need to decarbonize by renewable energies.
With these final words, we have seen the variety of concerns surrounding the development of the energy transition. Nevertheless, Prof. Rosa also pointed out that injustices are not solely a matter of this energy transition. On the contrary, we need it. And injustices are embedded in how infrastructures are developed and how communities envision their future. She also emphasized the importance of looking at the already existing local initiatives and opening the path to discuss how this process can be shaped. With the context provided by Professor Rosa, we now move directly to the issue of critical material extraction. In the next video, we'll talk about the related problems and the role companies play in them. Stay tuned and remember, everything we use comes from somewhere, but we can always do something to make it right.